Hello guys, it's Mary. I'm therapist and coach. And in this video, we are going to look at some treatment options for trauma therapy. In a past video, I talked about trauma disorders and symptoms, how it looks. And in this video, we are going to talk about potential treatments and options, how to help and how to get rid of trauma and problems connected with it. Whilst there are lots of different approaches in therapy and different schools, and any kind of therapy is better than none, I would say. If you have a good therapist, if you find a person you trust, they are good, or even if it's not directly a therapist, but it's somebody like a counselor or a spiritual worker or any kind of a mentor or coach who is understanding of you, who is accepting of you, who shows you empathy, who has some wisdom and understanding of how the trauma works and is able to listen to you and give you safe space to reprocess some things, even that can be already very helpful. But there are several approaches and therapies which are more powerful or more effective than the others. And I'm going to try to show you some of them. And in this video, I'm going to focus on the one of very well known right now and a very effective treatment, which is called EMDR. So what is EMDR? It is eye movement desensitization reprocessing. A crazy word, right? Basically what that means. I'm going to explain to you very simply. Imagine when you have a problem, usually it's easier to process your thoughts or problems when you walk. This is something that scientists discovered, that when you walk or when you run, and when you basically move, you switch movements from left to right, your legs move left to right, your eyes move left to right because you're walking, you are looking at the sides. And in this movement, for your brain, it is easier to process difficult emotions, thoughts, problems. Even Aristotle knew that. And he, as a famous philosopher, had this school of thought where he taught his students to have lectures while moving, while walking, while they were taking hikes together. And he was taking a lot of hikes because it helped him, he figured that it helped him think better and kind of connect things of his brain which he wouldn't be able to connect normally. This is because we have left and right hemisphere, and most of us are dominant in one or the other, whilst in Western civilization the dominance is much into the left side, which means left hemisphere is more about rationality, objective things, data, talking language, and right hemisphere is more about intuition, emotions, imagery, connecting the dots, and all of that more, all of that less exact type of thinking and feeling. And so these hemispheres are connected with this corpus callosum, which is a part of a brain, which like a bridge which connects them. But what happens with trauma is that it's kind of like a blockage, like a log almost. You can imagine in your brain there are these pathways of neural pathways, and when you've got trauma, it's almost like on the road there is suddenly a block, like a tree fell down and it's blocking, or it's like a clogging inside of a tube or something like that. If you want to understand, it's you cannot access even that part of the brain properly. That's why it starts to malfunction. You have all these kind of errors, which we talk about in previous episodes with the symptoms of emotional or cognitive and other symptoms. So actually, this is a natural process that the brain processes problems and heavy emotions, difficulties, or even thoughts and complex issues better if it can combine or kind of connect left and right, and that happens naturally with walking. That's why one of the good advice is, if you need to solve something with your partner, don't lock him in a car sitting where he cannot escape, but let him walk, go for a walks and solve it. Or even some people prefer learning like that, they pace around the room, because that helps them actually to access parts of brain that they wouldn't be able to access normally. And also this eye movement reprocessing happens in the sleep. You may sometimes see people while sleeping in the REM phase that their eyes like close, but you see them doing like that kind of a rapid movements, left to right. So that's when the brain is also reprocessing all the garbage sort of that happened, or the difficulties, all the problems, all the stimuli that it soaked in during the day. This is amazing mechanism, and the EMDR is harvesting the potential of this mechanism. It basically works on this bilateral stimulation, which means the therapist, in a core of the therapy, helps you to get into the painful memories, and with the memories there are always connected some negative thoughts about you or others, some kind of a belief or something is stuck there that is subconsciously influencing you. You may be aware of it, you may not be aware of it, but it's usually some very bad, distorted belief about something that you took out of trauma, how that pain, how that thing hit you, and that thing is actually very limiting and disturbing you. And while you are being led to gradually scale your disturbing emotions or disturbing thought, identifying them, and then you are being led to think about them or just focus on them, to kind of observe them or focus on them, not really analyze, but more of observe, while they are stimulating you, either with a movement of a finger like this, or it can be with something to squeeze something in hands, it can be some sounds, sometimes it can be some touch. It depends on the style of therapy, but basically it's about this bilateral stimulation. And yeah, it looks very technical, right? It's like, can this work? Isn't it kind of weird? But I can assure you this can be a very strong thing, can be very helpful. Of course, not every therapy works the same for every person. First of all, you need to have a good therapist that you trust. And each person might respond to different techniques better. That's why we are specializing in different things, and you need to search and find what suits you the best. Of course, let me not oversimplify this. Each therapy has its stages, and also EMDR has like a protocol of about 8 steps. And in the beginning of every good therapist needs to examine you, your history, your anamnesis, your symptoms, make some treatment plan or treatment contract, what you're going to work on. And then there are some other preparation parts, maybe checking up for your coping mechanisms and everything else. But then when you are in the heart of that therapy, that's where the reprocessing happens. And also there is some work with scanning of your body and your emotions and the bodily symptoms and sensations. So this is good, because the problem with trauma is that we often try to solve it with left hemisphere, with our rationalizing our defense mechanism. We are kind of creating protection around actually resolving it. We try to find reasons why this is okay, this is normal, or deny this never happened, or this is just happens to everybody. We self-gaslight ourselves, or very famous defense mechanism is that we project it on other people, or everybody else is like this or that, or they are dangerous, they are bad, they are this, they are that, and we project it away from ourselves, and all that mess is actually preventing us to live a full lives. And even this affects our spiritual life. If you're a believer, the trauma really affects how you view God, how you read even Bible, what you see there, how you interpret it. It's almost like you have this glass in front of you, in front of your eyes, these lenses, and they are very crooked. And the more of a pain and more of a lies you have stuck in there, inside your body, inside your brain, the more twisted is your view of things, and it can really prevent you to be free and to even receive the truth properly. I was once in this session with my colleague who was practicing for her exam, so I served as a testing subject, and we did this EMDR, and it was really very powerful for me, that we went to one traumatic experience that I had of some kind of a hurtful and abusive situation I was in the past. And what was very interesting for me, because I am a believer person, was that inside that moment when I was able to just observe and like let the movement, the eyes and the sound going, and relaxing my brain, I heard God speaking to me through that. It was something in such a level where I didn't have to push anything. And I had in this situation some beliefs stuck, which I wasn't even aware of. I just realized it after I heard this voice in my heart, this thought that came, which was, you don't have to manage it all. And what was very interesting for me was that I could feel or hear God through that therapy, although the therapist had nothing to do with that, and she wasn't even putting any spiritual aspect into the therapy. But because I am a person who lives with God as well, this was somehow making it so easy for me suddenly to let go of that pain and of that lie that was stuck there, and I wasn't even aware of that lie. The therapist actually thought, that colleague, that I needed to I was feeling helpless and powerless, and I needed to gain control, which is logical. Normally, usually that's what you need. But paradoxically, that was not what I really needed. And I heard that voice, which was, you didn't have to make it not happen. You didn't have to manage it. It's okay that you were weak. It's okay if it wasn't your fault. I mean, I'm trying to now translate. It was I was doing it in a different language first of all, so I'm trying to translate the thing. But it was very simple message. But the point was that I just realized then that the lie stuck there was that I'm responsible for everything around, even for reaction of the person, for managing the situation, for how it all went, and I should have prevented it somehow, or I should have done something that it wouldn't have happened. And this was a liberation that, no, you didn't have to. It's okay that things happen, bad things happen. It's okay. You don't have to manage all and prevent all, and it's okay to be just weak. And even it's okay to be helpless sometimes. And that was so freeing. And this, my small piece of it was just an excerpt from a therapy. And this helped me to receive the truth and even meet God in a very personal way. And why I'm telling you this, because some of you might be believers, some of you might not. But sometimes I meet people who are believers and they think that the therapy is somehow denying faith, or if you go to therapy, it means you are not receiving enough healing of God, or something like that. But I want to assure you that these things totally 100% cooperate beautifully, because everything that works as created by God himself, all the protective mechanism, also the same way as our skin has the capacity to repair if you cut it, or loads of other, our immune system, there are principles in our brain, in our hearts, that God created, and if we learn them, and if we discover them, and if we respect them, He is going to be there inside that process with you, and He's going to be helping you to heal, because even Bible says the truth, know the truth, truth will set you free. And that's what happens in therapy. You're trying to get rid of the lies that are subconsciously inside you, and be rooted in love, and the love casts out fear. That is a biblical principle. And again, if you have a good therapy, you receive love. You receive love also from yourself, or you receive self-compassion and soothing and comfort, and that is love. And so all these things cooperate in a good therapy with a good person who you trust. Things can really work miracles, and even God can come inside and put His flavor and His presence in there and make it work even more easily and even better. So this is one of my experiences and one of the methods that I think are quite good, and I recommend everybody to try them. And the next video I'm going to talk about another one which I am trained in, and that is more emotionally focused reintegrative therapy, which uses imagination and emotions and self-compassion to access these hurtful memories and release the emotions and receive the new truth about yourself through self-compassion. So I hope to see you in my next video, and if you like this, please subscribe to my channel, help me grow it, and share it to everybody who might need it. Thank you very much. See you next time.